సార్ నమస్తే సార్.
అయ్యా నమస్తే నమస్తే. బ్రహ్మాంతరెడ్డి ఆడియో అన్మ్యూట్ చేయలేదా?
సార్ సార్ చెప్పండి సార్.
ఇలా మీసాలు పెంచినవాళ్ళు ఏమైనా కోపమా?
లేదు సార్,
అయ్యా రెడీనా?
సార్ మీకు రేపు చేస్తాను సార్, ఒకసారి చూడాలి సార్. రేపు కంపల్సరీ సార్, రేపు స్టార్టింగ్ నాదే.
ఎవరు మీ పాప? ఆడే అనక
పాపే సార్, వాళ్ళు హోంవర్క్ రాసుకుంటారు కూర్చొని.
Only 6:35. There are 13 people. Low registry. Low registry. Would you like to speak something?
No, sir.
Audio is not clear.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. Yes. Hello. Where is the Raghavan Master? There, Sudhakar Reddy. Hello. హలో సుధాకర్ రెడ్డి గారు, చెల్లపరపాడు వస్తామన్నారా?
ఏం చెప్పలేదు సార్, నాకు నేనేం ఫోన్ చేయలేదు.
రాత్రి
మీదేదో బాగాలేదు, మీ ఇది కనెక్షన్, మీ వాయిస్ డ్రాగ్ అవుతా ఉంది, కనెక్షన్ బాగలే.
సరే కానీ ఆయన వచ్చేదాకా మీరు కంటిన్యూ వస్తే ఆయన కూడా మీరు కూడా కలుస్తారు. ఆడియో సరిగ్గా రావడం లేదు,
మీది కొంచెం డ్రాగ్ అవుతా ఉంది.
Yeah. It's one thing. The Professor Vivek Rai sir will come down.
Okay.
ఆయన వస్తారు అరౌండ్ 7. ఆయన 5-10 minutes మాట్లాడతారేమో. మనం దీన్ని కంటిన్యూ చేస్తాము.
సరే
ఆయన ఎప్పుడు వస్తే అప్పుడు మాట్లాడతారు. ఏముంది మీ ఆడియో ఈరోజు మీ ఇంటర్నెట్ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది చూడండి.
నాది బాగానే ఉంది సార్, ఇంటర్నెట్ కనెక్షన్ బాగానే ఉంది నాది.
ఓకే,
కనెక్షన్ ఫుల్ ఉంది. ఆ సర్టిఫికెట్ చూస్తారా? సర్టిఫికెట్ చూస్తారా?
ఎవరు?
నేను పంపించిన సర్టిఫికెట్ చూస్తారా అని అడుగుతున్నా.
నాకేం వినపడడం లేదు సార్.
అవునా?
Raghavan also is there. ఉన్నాడు. నేను ఇది పంపించేసి వస్తా
Right, no problem.
ఒకసారి. అయితే we can start, then I will send the link. సార్ ఒక్క నిమిషం. I think this is already 6:40, sir.
Yeah.
I request Professor Sudhakar Reddy, sir, to take the whole workshop into his hands, and he will conduct the what you call participants performance. Now I request Professor Sudhakar Reddy to start. Okay, sir.
Thank you very much, and good evening to all. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, it is audible, sir. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. So, good evening to all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's nice that you have all joined, and we had a marathon session of brainstorming by Professor Raghavan Painadu, and he has given so many concepts, innumerable, points of views, and also his own opinion about the future of folklore or folkloristics, whatever it is. So this is a very interesting area because, as he said very correctly, that the discipline of folklore is almost at the verge of decline, and that is for various reasons. And now it is time for us to think to how to revive this thing. And the other opinion is that folklore is also changing or dying rather, or changing its contours and becoming more towards globalization, commodification. Therefore, there is a need even to address those issues and to look for what best can be done with regard to folklore also. So these are the two issues which he has actually kept before us. Now we will discuss on these things, and all participants I request to participate freely, ask questions, not only just questions, express your opinions, also your viewpoints, whether it is contradictory or in his favor, doesn't matter. But this session, please don't waste by just telling the Thanksgiving or just praising. This is more critical session. We need to have a critical inputs from each one of you, so that it will be helpful for our own development of folkloristics as well as folklore. So with this introductory remarks, I just wanted people to react from anyone can start the discussion. We can start that way. Yeah, please go ahead. Anybody is there who want to interact? Not everybody joined, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Ruchi Rana, yes, sir.
Yeah, please, Ruchi.
Sir, sorry, sir. I prepared a PPT. I actually mailed. I'm traveling. If I can present that, otherwise I'll just read out my points.
Yeah, please read out your points. Don't worry about PowerPoint today.
See, you have already sent us. I can share the screen.
Yeah, yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sir, I will start with, first of all, my warm greetings to all the respected professors who have joined us today, and also dear participants. I'll share, first of all, what I expected. Sir, please change the slide. Next slide, please. Yeah. So what I expected from this workshop when I got to know about it. As a researcher who is seriously pursuing folklore as a primary academic pursuit, despite being from a literature background, my outlook towards this workshop was very optimistic, since it's one of a kind, very courageous and sincere initiative undertaken by fossils. So I thought that I had to be part of it at any cost. So then looking at the schedule, it gave me a hint of idea of what this workshop is really aiming at, which in my limited experience of participating in different national and international folklore activities, I thought it was unprecedented. Involvement of such renowned, eminent folklorists, professors, scholars from pan-India level, I thought will be an honoring experience. I expected to get corrected, refined, challenged, trained, and stirred by possibilities that lie in refining what we define as folklore today. So I expected not only to learn, but to unlearn and relearn many different areas of knowledge that I, in my capacity, have not been able to, get acknowledged with. Yeah, because there are certain limitations that we face in terms of pedagogy and curriculum regarding folklore. Being from literature background, of course, I'm not a trained folklorist. So these were my concern and expectations from this workshop. Sir, please change the slide. So I also expected to interact with fellow researchers on a pan-India level, to listen to them specifically and to share concerns, difficulties, struggles that we individually face and together as folk that we face. Further, my expectation was to connect and to have a dialogue, a very, very broad dialogue, inclusive of all the identities, all the different experiences that we bring forth from our own specific sociocultural realities. So I thought that this will be very useful. I will utilize this and this experience in building a strong network for future possibilities of working together in uplifting the discipline. Next slide, please, sir. Now I will share my experience. So next slide. So about my experience, like any other human, we desire too much. So was I. I also was very expecting a lot, and looking at the final schedule, in the back of my mind, I thought it is a Herculean task to actually be able to cover all these topics. So with this idea in the back of my mind, I was not expecting slightly, for this reason, that this workshop will be able to cover all these areas. But I am happy to say that I'm very satisfied and more open to different possibilities of thinking. And as Professor Payanat said, I think I'm more courageous to try new ideas and work on them. So I learned not just knowledge, but value as well. To be disciplined from different professors, eminent professors, and especially from Professor Raghavan Payanat sir for daily taking these long lectures, which is very needed, because there is a lot of burden that we as young folklorists and scholars have on our shoulders, who are primarily pursuing this discipline, not as secondary, but for whom it's a very serious area of research. So the series of lectures have been beyond my expectations, no doubt about that. They were so thorough and thoroughly prepared with precision and encouraging critical thinking, that I'm deeply in awe of the hard work undertaken by the organizers. And I'm thankful for different eminent people who came across and speakers who put forth their view and insights. The topics were very synchronized in an organic way. I mean, starting from knowledge, from the root, such a small unit from knowledge, and developing the argument to discuss about its relation with industry, market, globalization, liberalization, with different, streams we don't often find traditional folklorists in Indian folkloristics thinking about it, specifically in our pedagogy and curriculum. So this is something very unprecedented, and I have deep respect for that, for starting this officially. And so I'm really thankful for the Professor Payanath sir for clubbing together important ideas to be disseminated through this single platform in such an effortless manner. Sir, next slide, please. Apart from that, the yesterday session was for me something that started a new discourse in thinking out of the box with the Professor Payanath sir introducing to us a new term, intralogy. So that I think for any new model to be developed, there has to be, what is necessary recipe is some sort of disruption, dismantling of old, that really fuels that driving force to create new and construct something new. So I have a question regarding this introduction of this new term by sir. I was a little confused with the concept, since the slides were titled as substitution of folklore with the new term, which I thought to be contradictory, because sir emphasized that it is an approach, not a discipline. So how is it possible to replace or substitute a discipline with an approach? So this is my first question that I was thinking about, and I was equating it with what UNESCO did with introducing ICH. Same, I thought intralogy as a concept is somewhat trying to do the same. I mean, both I consider as part of folklore. They don't seem to have capacity of engulfing the entire discipline of folklore. I might be wrong and missing points, so I would really like sir to correct me here. And I support Professor Poyanath's belief in thinking out of the box, and really for motivating us and filling us with courage to start thinking new from a different perspective. So I'll end here, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Rana. Thank you so much. Yeah, your observations are quite intriguing. So what is your opinion? You have said that intrology is something like a discipline, right? And not a discipline.
No. Sir, I said Prayanath sir told us that it's an approach, but
yeah,
his slide was showing that
it is an approach rather than a discipline, and therefore
Yeah.
how it is going to replace discipline called
Yes,
folklore, right? So that is your concern. So what is
Yes,
your
sir.
thinking? Fine, I understand your question, but what is
Sir,
your
Mhm. Yes, sir. I was also thinking, sir, why can't today's folklore's definition involve the complex identity of folk that we have in a globalized world? Why can't folklore retain new meanings to it? And we can continue with folklore rather than, investing our energies in changing names. I mean, understanding that definitely a lot of money and power politics has been invested in diluting the existence of folklore. A lot of departments are coming up. There are policies by international organization. So our our energy should be in uplifting folklore rather than building different models as it's counter to, reduce its power. I mean, we should unite together to fight this menace. That is what we are confronting. I mean, we can invent new terms to tackle different problematic areas that we are facing rather than changing folklore, because I tend to feel that ICH and both interology come within, they cannot have exclusive existence outside of folklore at this point.
Yeah. You said it very correct. So how about the others? Do you subscribe to what she's saying, or you have any other opinions?
Yes.
Dr. Rajeshri. Yeah, Himanshi, good. Come.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. It was very wonderful presentation by Ruchi, and I totally agree with her that intrology as an approach as well, under a discipline, it has a potential to actually address what Professor Raghavan Payanad sir was trying to actually unify a numerous group identities of people with the term intra, which he was trying was trying to incorporate in, like, inside the group, how a group identity is retained under under this term intralogy, and that identity is to be studied. So that's how this approach can be fixated under a discipline folklore rather than being a discipline altogether. Folklore has a potential to incorporate ICH, intralogy, and other several approaches which might emerge to just to identify, to approach, and to locate different problems that we face today under this discipline. So I totally agree with her.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Anybody else is there to share?
Sir, I am Rajesh Shekharan.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yesterday, regarding some new words using by Professor Raghavan Payanad, what I am thinking here, we are already getting some European Western theories, but regarding our Indian, we will coin some new words. If even coming to in the Tamil Nadu government, they are when they are for English word, they are bringing into new coin word into Tamil. They are published in the newspaper. Okay, it is coming to the what is our public. They again using again and again, it will come into the society. It is using our society. On that way, we will get now some new things. We are not always expecting from Western theories. Our possibilities, we will do something, and it is using in the public media. It is better. This is my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. You are supporting the and also propagating how a new term can be introduced into social system, right?
Yes,
so that's
right.
what you are saying. But anyway, that's fine. Sir, now I think it is 7. If Professor Vivek Rai joined, maybe we can give time to her.
No, sir. No. He is there. He is already in the meeting. He wants to hear the the voices of our participants.
Okay.
So you continue.
Right. When you ask us to stop, we will stop.
Yeah.
Then we will go ahead. Right, sir? Right. Now, Kanda Subramaniam, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
At the outset, I would like to thank all the organizers and especially Reddy sir, both Sudhakar Reddy sir also, and Challa Burmal sir, our sincere thanks to Raghavan Payanad sir, because youngsters should learn from him. As a senior research scholar, a senior scholar, how to lead a discipline. He could be the role model. In the past 14 days, he's shown his total effort, and we could know that the way of presentation, the argument which he presented in a systematic way, and he has a research methodology. Likewise, we can tell many more things, sir. Regarding the workshop objective, when we are proposed in this group, it says that it will talk about the evolution of folklore research in the past and to explore new avenues for the future of folklore and folkloristics. It says like that. I think we finished that first phase. We are expecting the next phase soon, sir. The future avenues in the folklore and folkloristics research on this base, because we well thoroughly with the expertise of our scholars regarding the past and what is the politics behind the folklore and folkloristic research as such. And regarding that nomenclature, I'm having a different opinion on this, sir. What we are going to do with this nomenclature and the new name, and what we are going to do with that new name, that is very important than the name, what I'm thinking. Because especially in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra, they have a particular name for folklore. There is a particular name, Janapada, like that in Telugu or Kannada, and in Kerala also there is a particular name. But Chalabarmal sir knows, and we all knows that in Tamil Nadu we used two terms. Especially if we tell frankly, we used three terms for folklore. One is Natar Valakatrial, which is from the school of thought of Dr. Lourdes sir, Professor Lourdes, which is carried by the St. Xavier's College. The school of St. Xavier College used that term Natar Valakatrial for folklore. In Madurai and Tanjavur, Dr. Ramanathan sir and Dr. Saraswati madam, Muttaya sir, they used the word Natupuravial. And in Chennai, some of the people used as Makkal Valakatrial. Nowadays in Coimbatore also, they are using as Makkal Valakatrial. Makkal Valakatrial, it is totally deviated the form, but they are arguing that as a folklore. But what we are doing in all these names are doing the same type of research work and same type of work. But my question is, okay, we can change the name. What we are going to do with that name? In the discipline, how we are approaching that lore, or in which centric we are going to approach our, under which centric we are going to lead the discipline. That could be taken into consideration. What my feeling is, whatever may be the name. So, okay, sir, if we change the name, what could be happen, or what could be the change we can see in this discipline in future, or merely because this terms and this UNESCO, these people are arguing from the 2003 onwards. After 19 years, we are discussing. We came to in India, and especially those who are the leading folklore researcher, our senior scholars. Now we are discussing regarding the nominal culture change. But what we have to, my opinion is, what we are going to do with this discipline, that could be the more emphasized, and that could be the more important things to be given for that, rather than the name. The name can be in any form, because again, I'm telling, in Tamil Nadu context, we are using different names, but doing the same research. Okay, if we change the name, means what we are going to do. That could be to be discussed as I'm thinking, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kandaswamy. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share on these issues?
Sir, namaste, sir. I am Nadamuni from Tirupati.
Please, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, నాకు పెద్దగా ఇంగ్లీష్ రాదు సార్, తెలుగులో మాట్లాడతాను.
Go ahead. We can translate.
సార్ సార్ ఇక్కడ తిరుపతి సార్, నేను ఎంఏ తెలుగు అయిపోయింది సార్ నాది ఎస్వి యూనివర్సిటీలో. నాకైతే రీసెర్చ్ మెథడాలజీ చాలా ఉపయోగపడినాయి సార్. సార్ రాఘవన్ పైడవాన్ సార్ చెప్పినవి ఆ స్లైడ్స్ అంతా తీసి అంటే సార్ వాళ్ళు శివకుమార్ సార్ పంపించినటువంటి తీసి పెట్టుకుని మా తమ్ముడు చేత రీరైట్ చేయించుకున్నాం సార్, తెలుగులో అర్థం చేసుకునే దానికి ఆ వీడియోల ద్వారా. అయితే ఇవంతా ఒక తెలుగులో నోట్స్ ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకొని చదువుకున్నాను సార్. అంటే కొంచెం నేను ఫస్ట్ నుంచి తెలుగు మీడియం చదివిన దాని వల్ల పెద్దగా నాకు అర్థం కాకపోయినా ప్రతిరోజు అయితే వీడియోలో అంటే వర్క్ షాప్ మొత్తంలో ఉంటున్నాను సార్, వింటున్నా ఇంగ్లీష్ అంతా అర్థం చేసుకుని నోట్స్ ప్రిపేర్ చేసుకున్నాను సార్. నాకైతే చాలా ఉపయోగపడింది. నాకు అవకాశం ఇచ్చినటువంటి భక్తవత్సల సార్కి హృదయపూర్వక ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను సార్. అదే విధంగా మీకు రాఘవన్ సార్కి చల్ల పెరుమాళ్ సార్కి ధన్యవాదాలు సార్, ఈ అవకాశం నాకు ఇచ్చినందుకు.
అది బాగుంది సార్, కానీ మీ అభిప్రాయం ఏమి ఇప్పుడు ఈ జానపద సాహిత్యమా లేకపోతే జానపద విజ్ఞానమా జానపద?
అదే సార్ ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే సార్ నాకేమనిపించిందంటే ఈ దీంతో పాటు అంటే సాహిత్యము కొంచెం దీనికి సంబంధించి ఇంకొంచెం యాడ్ చేస్తుంటే బాగుండి అనిపించింది సార్. అంటే ఎక్కువ ఫోక్లోరే ఉంది కానీ ఫోక్ ఆర్ట్స్ కి పెద్దగా ఏం నాకంటే కొంచెం యాడ్ చేస్తుంటే బాగుండి అనిపించింది సార్. కళారూపాలకు సంబంధించిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ కొంచెం యాడ్ చేస్తుంటే కూడా బాగుండేమో అనిపించింది సార్. సార్ థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్, ధన్యవాదాలు సార్.
అది కాదమ్మా, ఇప్పుడు సుధాకర్ రెడ్డి సార్ అడిగింది ఏంటి, ఈ వర్క్షాప్ మీరు ఈ 15 రోజుల పాటు అటెండ్ అయిన తర్వాత మీరు ఏమి నేర్చుకుంటారు, మీరు దీనివల్ల ఎలాంటి అభిప్రాయాన్ని కలిగి ఉన్నారు అది చెప్పండి.
రీసెర్చ్ కి సంబంధించిన కొన్ని మెలకువలు తెలుసుకోగలిగినాను సార్. అంటే రీసెర్చ్ ఎలా చేయాలా అంటే జానపద డేటాను ఎట్ట గ్యాదర్ చేసుకోవాలనే విషయాలు కొన్ని తెలుసుకోగలిగినాను సార్ ఈ వర్క్ షాప్ ద్వారా.
Sudhakar Reddy sir, you please explain it in English.
Very briefly I will tell.
Thank you.
Problem with English because he is basically a Telugu medium and he did his masters from SV University in Telugu, and therefore I think he is doing PhD now, I don't know. And what he says is that he has learnt first of all first time he is getting exposed to some kind of methodology which Raghavan sir is telling. That is something very useful to him. Otherwise in Telugu literature they were doing differently. Now he can apply that to how to collect data and then how to analyze that and how to interpret that. He has understood that steps. Therefore this workshop is very useful to him. That's what he is saying. And what is other thing he said is that he kept his brother and gave all these PowerPoints got translated into Telugu, and he wrote entire notes based on those things, and that is very useful to him. That is what he is telling. But otherwise, except for the workshop's contribution to him, he is unable to tell much about what other than this, what he has learned or what he can critically observe. This he is not able to tell because that is too, I think, too early for him to make any kind of decision. Doesn't matter, but something he has learned and we are happy that he has learned. Parvatalu wants to speak.
Sir, namaskaram sir.
Namaste sir.
Sir, I am also from Telugu background sir. I can speak only Telugu sir, please.
No problem, go ahead sir.
Sir, ముందుగా రాఘవ్ పైనాడ్ సార్కి ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. వారు చెప్పిన అన్ని లెక్చర్స్లలో నేను చాలా బాగా అర్థం చేసుకున్నది ఫోక్ లిటరేచర్ యొక్క ఫోక్లోర్ యొక్క ఎవాల్యుయేషన్, ఫోక్లోర్ దాంతోపాటు దాని పరిణామ క్రమంలో వేరే గ్లోబలైజ్డ్ వాతావరణం పెరిగిన తర్వాత వాటిని ఫోక్ లిటరేచర్లో వాటి ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ ఎంతవరకు ఉన్నది, దాని క్రమంలో అంతరించిపోతున్న జానపదం ఎంత, దాని పూర్వపరాల గురించి నేను చాలా సంక్షిప్తంగా తెలుసుకోగలిగిన. తర్వాత మెథడాలజీ విషయంలో కూడా అంతే సార్. డాటా సేకరణ ఎట్లా చేయాలి, వాటి ద్వారా రానున్న రోజులలో ఒక రీసెర్చ్ స్కాలర్కి ఏ విధంగా ఉపయోగపడుతుంది అనే విషయాలను నేను మూలంగా తెలుసుకున్నాను సార్. అంటే సుధాకర్ రెడ్డి సార్ గారి లెక్చర్ త్రూ మానవ మేధస్సు యొక్క ఎవాల్యుయేషన్ ఎట్లా జరిగింది, వీటి త్రూ కళల పుట్టుక ఎట్లా జరిగింది అనే ఒక విషయాన్ని నేను గమనించగలిగాను సార్. ఇంకా ముందు ముందు ఇంకా ఎక్కువ విషయాలు తెలుసుకుంటానని నేను ఆశాభావం వ్యక్తం చేస్తున్నాను సార్. దీంతో పాటు ఫోక్ కళలకు, ఫోక్ ఆర్ట్స్ కూడా ఇంకొద్ది ప్రియారిటీ వస్తే బాగుండేదని నా సజెషన్ సార్. అంతే సార్. ధన్యవాదాలు సార్. ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చిన భక్తవత్సల్ రెడ్డి గారికి నా హృదయపూర్వక ధన్యవాదాలు సార్.
Thank you, Parvatal Garu. Yeah, what he is trying to say is that he has learned for the first time he is getting also exposed to this evolutionary model of how folklore has evolved and then went up to the level of globalization. The whole transition, Professor Raghavan Payanadu sir is able to explain very well, and he understood the whole concept now. That's one contribution that he gained out of this thing. And secondly, he is also very much impressed by the methodology that is taught. And both of them said, actually, Nadaman Reddy and also Parvatalu said that had this thing, folk arts or folk performances, performing arts, had they been included into this while quoting certain examples, it would have been much better, or would have enhanced the lectures of Professor Raghavan Payanadu. That's what they are saying. But the scheme of Professor Raghavan Payanadu is very high level. In fact, is actually taken up from the knowledge, how this knowledge, industry and research, all the three in a particular syncretic way, they worked and then led to the whole collapse of the so-called status of folklore to that of IHC. That is, what is that? Heritage, cultural ICH. Yeah, intangible cultural heritage. So this is a thing. Anyway, whatever they have understood, they have benefited, and they are very thankful to Professor Bhaktavatsala Reddy. Thank you very much. Anyone else is there, please?
Hello, sir. This is Brahmananda Reddy, sir, from Tirupati.
Yeah, please go ahead.
సార్ నాది కూడా సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సార్. నేను తెలుగులో మాట్లాడతాను, కాకపోతే ఓకే సార్. ముఖ్యంగా ఈ వర్క్ షాప్ అయితే మంచి విలువలను అయితే అందించగలిగింది సార్. కారణం ఏమి అంటే ప్రాక్టీస్ కి నాలెడ్జ్ కి మధ్య ఉన్నటువంటి వ్యత్యాసాన్ని క్షుణ్ణంగా సారు ఉదాహరణతో సహా చెప్పడం చాలా బాగా ఆకట్టుకుంది సార్ నాకైతే. ఎందుకంటే మునుపు నేను అనుకోవడం ఏమంటే ప్రాక్టీస్ మేక్స్ మ్యాన్స్ పర్ఫెక్ట్ అన్నటువంటి సూత్రం ఆధారంగా అనుకున్నాం, కానీ నాలెడ్జ్ అనేది ఎంత ఉపయోగపడుతుందన్న విషయాన్ని సార్ చెప్పిన తర్వాత నాకు తెలిసింది సార్. తర్వాత ఇంకో విషయం ఏమంటే ఇందులో నాకు పెద్ద డౌట్ గా ఉన్న విషయం ఏమంటే సార్, వెన్ ఫోక్లోర్ యాజ్ కమోడిఫికేషన్, అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే వర్తక వస్తువుగా మారిపోతుందో, సో జానపద గాయకులు కానీ లేకపోతే జానపద ప్రదర్శన చేసే కళాకారులు కానీ కొత్త రకాన్ని తీసుకోవడానికి ప్రయత్నం చేస్తారు సార్ ఖచ్చితంగా. కారణం ఏమంటే ఫర్ సర్వైవల్ పర్పస్. అలా వాళ్ళు చేసుకుంటూ పోతూ ఉన్నప్పుడు మనకి ఆ ఓల్డ్ అంటే నేటివిటీ అనేది ఖచ్చితంగా తెరమరుగడిపోయే ఆవిష్కారం ఉంది సార్. కారణం ఏమి అంటే తెలుగు లిటరేచర్ లో మనం కంపేర్ చేసుకుంటూ వస్తే లెక్కలేనన్ని జానపద ఆటలు ఉన్నాయి సార్. వాటి పేర్లు ఉన్నాయి కానీ హౌ టు పర్ఫార్మ్స్ అనే విషయం మనకి ఎక్కడ కూడా దొరకడం లేదు సార్. చాలా ఉన్నాయి ఆటలు, చాలా ఉన్నాయి. ఇప్పుడున్నటువంటి సమస్య ఏమిటంటే ఇప్పుడున్నటువంటి ఈ న్యూ ఎరాలో ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఆల్ పీపుల్స్ ఇంట్రెస్టెడ్ టు ప్లే క్రికెట్, వాలీబాల్, లైక్ దట్ గేమ్స్ ఉన్నాయో తప్పిస్తే పాత గేమ్స్ ఎక్కడ కూడా మనకు కనిపించడం లేదు సార్. ఎందుకు కనిపించడం లేదంటే వీటికి ఉన్నటువంటి విలువ ఎక్కువ. సార్ చెప్పినట్టు ఆ వర్తక అది మనం కమోడిటీ కింద తీసుకునే సమయంలో కొత్తదనాన్ని కోరుకుంటారు కానీ పాతదనాన్ని కోరుకోవడం లేదు సార్. ఇంకొక సమస్య ఏమిటంటే ఎస్పెషలీ తెలంగాణ తెలుగు రాష్ట్రాల్లో ఉన్నటువంటి జానపదం తెలుగు సాహిత్యంలో ఉంది కానీ ప్రత్యేకంగా ఎక్కడ చెప్పడం లేదు సార్. కారణం ఏమి అంటే కేవలం అందులో ఏముందంటే జానపదం ఏంటంటే జానపద కళాకారులు ఏ వస్తువులు వాడతారు, బిరదరాజు రామరాజు గారు రాసినటువంటి పుస్తకాన్ని బేస్ చేసుకుని అన్ని కూడా ఉన్నాయి తప్పిస్తే వేరు ఎక్కడా లేదు సార్. నేనైతే ఈ విషయం మీద సార్ చాలా సార్లు అడిగాను సార్. కారణం ఏమి అంటే కేవలం అవి తెలుసు కానీ మనకి ఈ థియరీస్ ని ఎట్లా అప్లై చేయాలనే విషయం ఎవరు కూడా తెలియడం లేదు సార్. తెలుగులో జానపద సాహిత్యం మీద నేను పిహెచ్డి చేశాను, చేస్తే కూడాను డాటా కరెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను కానీ ఆ డాటాని సిద్ధాంతీకరణ చేయాలి అంటే ఎలా చేయాలో తెలియడం లేదు సార్. So same problem I asked to Bhakta sir several times sir, but he gave one task to us, but we are failure to complete it sir. నాకు తెలిసి ఏమంటే మీరు ఇవన్నీ చెప్పడం బాగానే ఉంది, కాకపోతే వీటితో పాటు ఏదైనా ఇప్పుడు పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ థియరీనో లేకపోతే స్ట్రక్చరల్ థియరీనో థియరీస్ కొన్ని పరిచయం చేస్తుంటే రాబోయే మాలాంటి వాళ్ళు కాస్త ఉపయోగకరంగా ఉండేది నా ఉద్దేశం సార్. కాకపోతే అంత వయసులో కూడాను అంత ఓపికగా సారు అంత మ్యాటర్ని కరెక్ట్ చేసి ఇవ్వడం అనేది చాలా సంతోషం సార్. ఇలాంటి కార్యక్రమాన్ని ఉపయోగించినందుకు మీకు అందరికీ కూడా నేను ప్రత్యేకంగా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలియజేసుకుంటున్నాను సార్. కాకపోతే వీటి మీద రీడింగ్ మెటీరియల్ గానా ఇచ్చుంటే కొంతవరకు సౌలభ్యంగా ఉండుంటే మాలంటూ చాలా ఉపయోగపడేది సార్. కారణం ఏమంటే వినేటటువంటి సమయంలో కొంతవరకు అర్థం చేసుకుంటున్నాం కానీ మాకు ఇంగ్లీష్ మీద అంత గ్రిప్ లేకపోవడం వల్ల ఆ టెర్మినాలజీ మిస్ అయిపోతుంది సార్ చాలా వరకు. రీడింగ్ మెటీరియల్ ఇచ్చుంటే బాగుండేది. సేమ్ విషయం సార్ని అడిగాను. కాకపోతే అది పాసిబుల్ లేదో నాకు తెలియదు సార్. కాబట్టి ఈ వర్క్షాప్ చాలా బాగుంది కానీ బెటర్ దీనికంటూ మీకు టైం పర్మిట్ చేస్తే అవకాశం అంటూ ఉంటే థియరీస్ మీద ఖచ్చితంగా ఒకసారి పెడితే బాగుంటుంది సార్. ఇండేటెడ్ క్వశ్చన్ కాకుండాను థియరీస్ మీద కాస్త ఇస్తే మాకు యూస్ఫుల్ గా ఉంటుంది సార్. కారణం ఏమంటే ఎక్కడ కూడాను తెలుగు రాష్ట్రాల్లో ఉన్నటువంటి జానపద శాఖల్లో ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్ గా ఉన్నటువంటి దాంట్లో థియరీ గురించి ఎక్కడా లేదు సార్. ఒక బాక్స్ వర్గీకరణ తప్ప వేరే ఎక్కడ కూడాను థియరీస్ గురించి టచ్ చేసే స్కోపే లేదు సార్. సో దీనివల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే రాబోయే తరాల్లో రీసెర్చ్ మెథడాలజీ లోపించడానికి ఇది పెద్ద అవకాశంగా ఉంటుంది. కాబట్టి దయచేసి ఇలాంటి వాళ్ళకి వస్తే దీన్ని తీసుకొని దాని మీద చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది నా ఉద్దేశం సార్.
హలో ప్రమాదర్ రెడ్డి, ఈ వర్క్షాప్ మాత్రమే పరిమితం అవ్వమంటాయి.
అదే సార్ నేను చెప్పింది కూడా.
Okay, sir. Yeah, you said it very well. I'll just translate is whatever he said in a very brief manner. See, first time he has understood that practice and knowledge, these two are two different things, and therefore that has helped him to look into knowledge as a separate kind of entity, and also the nuances of knowledge, how it plays, that he has understood. And despite Raghavan Painadu sir having so much of age, with all that, his hard work and his commitment to the field is enormous, and therefore he started appreciating him. And the second point that is interested is in commodification, the concept of commodification. All folklore is getting commodified, and therefore this is going to affect our folk art forms, because performers, basically, they are going to get influenced by these things, and they are going to change their performances to tune their performances to the so-called market oriented or driven forces. So that is what he is telling. And as an example, he is telling that folk games, several folk games he has collected, and there are both in literature as well as in field. And whatever they are there in literature, it is not in performance. Several of them are there, even in medieval texts and ancient texts. Names are there, but we cannot see them right now. So in the performance, what they mean, nobody knows. So there is a lot of extinction of these games. It is all because of, again, commercialization. Now students are going, or children are going towards cricket or football, whatever it is that is being projected and telecasted, and people are interested in following those games rather than the native games, and therefore the native thing is getting lost. And the third point that he is trying to, it is just an agony, that Telugu departments especially, and where there is folklore taught as a subject, there is no methodology as such to teach. And the result, they are following only one particular book or the other books which are connected with that book, called Biruduramraju's book. So they are simply following that book. There is not much theory in it, and only box theory they are able to understand classification of folklore. Other than that, there is no theory. So when he has collected the data, he doesn't know how to apply any theory, because such material is not available in Telugu literature. Therefore, he is asking to have a separate workshop to have a theoretical, discourse on that, and to and make an effort to change his Telugu department, at least folklore in Telugu departments. That is what he is urging, and very grateful to you, sir. Thank you very much. Next, anyone, please.
Sir, this meeting is being recorded. Sir, namaskaram, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Sir, నేను అనిల్ కుమార్ సార్, తెలుగు యూనివర్సిటీ హైదరాబాద్ సార్.
Good. Go ahead.
సార్ ఈ వర్క్ షాప్ చాలా బాగా అనిపించింది సార్. మొదట్లో నేను కూడా తెలుగు వర్క్ షాప్ కి అప్లై చేసే ముందే ఆలోచించాను సార్, చెయ్యాలా వద్దా అని. లాస్ట్ కి వర్క్ షాప్ అటెండ్ అయితే ఏదో ఒక 2-3 విషయాలన్నా, ఒక విషయమైనా తెలిసి వస్తుంది కదా అనే ధైర్యంతో జాయిన్ అయినాను సార్. ఆ ధైర్యమే నాకు చాలా ఇది ఇచ్చింది సార్. ఇప్పుడు చాలా మంచి విషయాలు రాకపోయినాను సార్, చాలా మంచి విషయాలు చెప్పారు సార్. మీరు కూడా మీ సెషన్ కూడా చాలా బాగా అనిపించింది సార్. తర్వాత మన చెల్ల పరిమళ సార్ది కూడా చాలా బాగా అనిపించింది సార్. చెల్ల పరిమళ సార్ది అయితే ఇంకా రీసెర్చ్ పైన ఎక్కువగా నాకు ఇంట్రెస్ట్ పెరిగేటటువంటి విధంగా ఉంది సార్. మన రాఘవ్ సారు ఫోక్ రీసెర్చ్ పర్సన్స్, అలన్ డండస్, రిచర్డ్ ఎం డార్సన్, విలియం డార్సన్, మళ్ళీ వీళ్ళ పేర్లన్నీ చెప్పారు సార్. నేను యూజీసీ నెట్ కి ప్రిపేర్ అవుతున్నాను సార్. అందులో వీళ్ళ పేర్లన్నీ నేను చదివాను సార్. వీటిని మళ్ళీ ఒకసారి సార్ చెప్పండి, నాకు చాలా బాగా అనిపించింది. కొంత మెటీరియల్ కూడా దొరికినట్టుగా అనిపించింది సార్. ఈ మెటీరియల్ కూడా యూజీసీ నెట్ కి సంబంధించి సరిగ్గా ఎక్కడ దొరకట్లేదు సార్. ఈ వర్క్ షాప్ ద్వారా నాకు ఏదైనా అందుతుంది అని నేను ఆశిస్తున్నాను సార్. మీ అందరి నుంచి మీ ఈ వర్క్ షాప్ లో ఉన్న వారి అందరిని, పెద్దవారిని, నాది చిన్న ఏజే సార్, ఇప్పుడు అందరిని పెద్దవారిని కలుసుకున్నందుకు, ఫోక్ లిటరేచర్ పైన, ఫోక్లోర్ పైన, ఫోక్ ఆర్ట్స్ పైన ఇంత మంది వర్క్ చేస్తున్నారు, మీ అందరిని చూసినందుకు చాలా సంతోషంగా ఉంది సార్ నాకు.
Okay, Anil, yeah. So what he's saying, Anil is saying is that he comes from a Telugu background and he doesn't know much of English. Yet he ventured to apply, hoping that at least he will understand something or gain something out of this workshop. And fortunately, he got the, participation thing. And he was very happy with the whole workshop because Raghavan Painadu sir said several things, and he has quoted several scholars. He is preparing for NET and he is able to understand, relate himself with those names and their contributions. So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that even Challa Perumal sir's lecture was excellent. It has instigated some kind of research interest in him because that talk was mostly about research. So he is happy and thankful to Professor Challa Perumal sir. And he also said that if something like notes, even the Brahmananda Reddy also said the same thing. At least if we can get the entire workshop lectures in the notes form, maybe that would be helpful to us in a written form. That would be helpful to us. That is their opinion. And he urges that if something is like that, it will be helpful to them. And he thanked Professor Pattavatsal Reddy in this regard. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anil. Anyone else?
Good evening, sir. Good evening to all. Yeah, it's my honor to be part of this workshop. And since I'm also new to this field, so I'm really thankful. And I was also looking for such kind of workshop. And I'm also elated and happy. And this workshop has given me lot of thoughts, lot of ideas how to look for the research. And regarding Raghavan Payanan's yesterday's lecture, I found that if folklore has a capacity to include or to take intralogy approach, then I think we should try for it. At least Sir has come up with some solution, and he is giving a substitution like proposing the methodology and objectives which is required and which was absent there. Apart from this, simultaneously we need to look for we have to keep on checking its functionality, how long it's working, or whether it needs some kind of a change in the future, sir. That's all, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you very much. So how do you feel? Yeah, somebody wants to speak.
No, we ask them to express their views through PowerPoint.
No, that
sir. Hello, sir. Sir.
Sir, if there are questions on puja, I think let them ask. Yes, sir.
No questions from my side.
Vijay Kumar Mandalji.
Sir, can I present
please.
my presentation?
Please, go ahead.
Okay.
Looking smart, sir.
Just 1 minute. I share my slide, okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Eh,
Yes, please.
Okay, sir. Respected Professor Bhakta Vatsala Reddy sir and Professor Y. Sudhakar Reddy sir and Professor Raghavan Parnat sir and A. Chiramula Pierre sir and my co-participants. It is difficult to evaluate all the overall workshop theme and deliberation which were delivered by the renowned or eminent personalities like Professor Raghavan Payana, Bhakta Vatsala Reddy, and Y. Sudhakar Reddy, and Tirupulamer sir. I would like to try to highlight some points which were I have learned from this workshop. First thing is that I have lot of knowledge about the production of knowledge, categorization of knowledge, dichotomy of science and humanities, etc. I think I saw a new insight about the term knowledge and knowledge production, and also the categorization of the knowledge. And another thing is that perspectives of the folklore and folklore as data and the differentiate between academic folklore and folklore as material of the study of folkloristics, and the differentiate between folklore studies and academic folklore, and also folkloristics, which was mentioned by Professor Payana sir, and also different stages about knowledge and way to knowledge to culture. This is very interesting, I think. And also, I revisit the concept of cultural evolution theory, which was read by me at the time of student when I was doing PhD, a master degree in folklore at the Department of Folklore of Kalyan University. Next point is that the paradigm of knowledge production. Professor Payana sir delivered lot of aspects of knowledge paradigm and the methods of research in folklore studies. One of the inductive and another part is deductive. Also mentioned the models of knowledge and the relationship between folklore and folkloristics and the present status in the 21st century or modern period. What is the status of folkloristics? And the dilemma regarding the definition of folklore and the complexity of the definition of folklore. We know the definition of folklore are more than fingerprints. That's why the definition of folklore is more complexity area in the field of folkloristics, I think. And third point is that I learned from this workshop the domain of knowledge and the relationship between nature and culture, and way to nature to culture. And another thing is that the vice versa relationship between science and social science, and what is the categorization of the folklore as a subject? Is it the branch of social science or humanities? I think it is debatable, but my opinion is that folklore is completely a branch of social science, no doubt. Another important point is that folklore is communication. Different components of communication are mentioned here: sender, message, feedback, etc., etc. And the research process of academic folklore, all the researcher and the folklorists also knew the whole the matters. What are the components or segments of the research activities? I also again revisit all the segments of research process.
Sir, not audible.
Now, hello, audible, sir?
Audible, sir.
Now, audible?
Audible.
Yes, yes, yes. And the role of UNESCO in the field of folklore and the debate on folklore terminology and paradigm shifting from folklore to intangible cultural heritage. This is interesting, I think, but we have to decide which term is most appropriate. And I have learned, I have already mentioned Professor Y. Sudhakar Reddy sir to the new term for me, that is Bhoresi. I knew about the term. In future I will use this term. It is very interesting, this term. Another part are also interesting, and the term inheritance or the system of inheritance. This is highlighted by Sudhakar Reddy sir. It's very interesting. In conclusion, Professor Raghavan Pioneer sir coined the term intralogy. The intralogy is very significant in today's perspective. But it cannot be completely replace the word folklore. Further, the word intralogy do not convey the same meaning as by the word folklore. The intralogy came from intra, which means within, and it is similar to the word indigenous, I think. Whereas folklore represents the traditional view of lore and wages of the folk. Therefore, the word intralogy is quasi-significant, but not for prominent academic discipline from the viewpoint of folkloristics, I think. So, intralogy can be a new approach for studying any genre of folklore, I think. So, from this workshop, once again, I telling now that I have learned lot of things. So, I convey my sincere thanks to the organizer, Professor Bhaktum Vatsala Reddy sir and other eminent professors. Thank you, sir. This is my brief presentation. And I have also underprepared.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sujay Kumar C. Yeah, you are heading folklore department. I am very happy, and you are a professor. Being in
Yes,
that state, you have attended every class and took interest in discussions, and also I am very happy about it. Really, I am thankful to you for that. Shown lot
thank
of
you, sir.
to learn things, and that's a good sign of a teacher. I
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now the kind of observations you made are very good and also very relevant, and others can respond. But meanwhile, I will hand over this to Professor Chala Perumal. He is already there, and he has to take over from me this coordination business now. Otherwise, I will become a monologue. I don't want to. Chala Perumal sir. Can I see Chala Perumal sir? Hello? Professor Chala Perumal. Hello?
Yeah, he is there, but it seems.
He has gone out.
Yeah. Okay, you can call another person.
Yeah. So anybody want to respond on any of these issues or anything else? Not necessarily only to intrology. That last thing, like new that is fine. That we understand. Apart from that, anything else you want to talk about, like on globalization and commodification or knowledge production or any of such concepts which was introduced by Professor Raghavan Painad. Introduced in the sense, I mean, he has highlighted those things to look at the entire discipline from a new perspective, right? So anybody wants to respond to such ideas, you are most welcome. And there are several others who have not even participated. Tomorrow, some of them are we going to make them into groups, sir? Bhaktavatala sir?
Yes, sir.
Are we going to make them groups so that they will make group presentations tomorrow? It is not thought about?
Yeah, tomorrow also. It is the whole 2 days is only for the participants.
Yeah, are we going to make them into groups and then ask them to present separately, or individually they will do the PowerPoint?
Yeah, so what we can do is, if they complete and if there is any time, we will talk all the people. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Please, anybody, somebody, Rajesh Khan has said that he will present it tomorrow. Okay, fine. Anyone else is there? Who? Yeah. Himanshi, please respond.
Sir, I have one observation, and I have also prepared a PPT, so I'd like to share it with.
Yeah, please go ahead.
My observation about globalization first is that when we talk about commodification of folk material or of folklore, folk art forms especially, so I think most of our attention is focused on tangible part of the folk material, which is mostly like folk art forms, and not on the intangible part, which are like like non-verbal expressions which are transferred from one generation to another. So we have a lot more genres that we need to classify and look for, that they are not necessarily commodified, but they bear the brunt of globalization and industrialization due to the shift in cultural landscape, or due to the shift in the geographical space, or due to the digitalization, the medium that we see today of that how on YouTube we find several medicinal material being transferred without any knowledge. That's also kind of a practice that we see today. And also other various intangible or like sources which are like games. They are not always commodified, but they also face the the brutal suppression because of various other issues that I think we also need to focus our attention on those. Also now I'd like to share. I'd like the permission from the host that can I share my screen, sir? Hello?
Yes.
Sir, I'd like to share my screen. Am I allowed? Or shall I mail it to you?
One second.
Yes, sir.
Jesse?
Yeah, I can share. Is my screen visible?
Visible.
All right, sir. So, first of all, I would like to talk about that why I chose Sanji folklore as my research topic. So I'm working on Sanji folklore. I did my master's in literature. So coming from a literature background and getting towards folklore was a difficult journey initially, but somehow with a few guidance from people from MIL, DU, and from my supervisor, and from this workshop or a course, a short certificate course that I did from IGNCA provided me a basic knowledge, and I shifted towards folklore. So I chose Sanji folklore because I have been practicing it since my childhood, and I have been always very intrigued by the performances and rituals that I performed. And as an oral literature that I perform myself, I found abundance of data, knowledge that I could gather about my own society, and I just wanted to reflect upon it and to share those reflections with people around me who are performing the same art form but not necessarily critically engaged in those performances. So I just wanted to situate myself among the group and study we. And very interestingly, that's how I also saw what Raghavan sir was trying to convey with his approach with intralogy, that how he was trying to situate we as a group which needs to be reflected upon and studied within the group. Because if we locate it outside and if we study it in a very objectified manner, then many material and source of information we might lose it. Then to create knowledge about Sanji folklore, which represents women's possession, their experiences and identity creation. To study existing narratives, variations and changing discourse due to socio-politic, geographic and economic shift. So with these variations, I mean that Sanji folklore is practiced in different forms and in different North Indian states. Especially, I hear.
Varshi,
Yes, sir.
just an interruption.
Yes.
This is, I think, about your PhD, na? Right?
Yes, sir.
No. We are asking you to present what you have learned or what critically you can observe
All right, sure, sir.
Within the thing. This, if time permits, we will do it tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Your personal thing, we can do it tomorrow. But actually, what is our interest is how much you have learned and how critical you are about.
Yeah,
Right?
sure.
Your critical reflexivity also would help us to understand how you have understood the subject, right? So please go ahead.
Sure. So my expectations from this workshop was to learn folklore methodology, because I missed that methodology during my, during my background from which I come, from literature. I didn't know how to be present in field and to collect data and to analyze it and then interpret it and present it. But with this workshop, I could grab a lot of knowledge about that, and especially about the challenges and ideas that we see in the field of folklore studies and folkloristics. So while venturing my journey into folklore studies, I would say that right now I am more into folklore studies because I'm studying a folk data, and my own critical understanding or theorization is not as deep that I can, create an application on this the data. So I can't say that I have a lot of understanding about folkloristics, but yeah, folklore studies, I think I can still reflect on my own performances, and therefore I am more efficient into folklore studies. And next, that what have I gained from this workshop? So initially because just as I said that I wanted a methodology to be presented, but with this workshop I was exposed to how folklore and its study is a means of knowledge production. What are the concerns and major challenges to pay attention on, just like globalization, liberalization, and other digital modes that have permitted in our day-to-day life, that have changed the communication process and also the knowledge production that we see in our traditional use. So I think this is how I can dive deep into folkloristics, that I really need to focus on these major concerns and challenges. And Professor Raghavan Painat sir has guide us through these things quite well, from very basic to the end. Then I also grabbed this topic, supra discipline, which Professor Sudhakar Reddy sir highlighted upon, which talks about the holistic knowledge that we need to create around folklore. My understanding on supra knowledge is that how we need to incorporate both intra and inter knowledge, that from the community and outside the community, the theoretical base and the criticism that community presents about their own ways of life. And I had also like to clarify on supra discipline by Sudhakar Reddy sir, that if he'd like to present more on supra discipline, because I am quite intrigued by this term. Next, to how we need to uplift the discipline with more academic developments. I think right now that we lack somehow is the pedagogy and curriculum, because if we also see that when we talk about major disciplines like literature, or say anthropology or humanities, or other disciplines, then people usually associate with them quite easily. But folklore is still something that we really need to explain to people who are outside the academics as well. So even for people who are inside academics, it is difficult, but we still have to have a basic understanding understanding or a basic definition which we can project to people who are outside the academics, especially in India, because of the diversity, because of the regional and languages that we have. And I suppose many other participants have also discussed about it, that how we have different names for folklore in our regional languages. Like in Hindi, we usually associate it with lok sahitya, which I don't think that it is rightly said, because lok sahitya is more about the folk literature, or like literature of the folk. It doesn't include the orality part or the the other characteristics that we see under folklore. So I think we need to focus on the Indian perspective, on the on how because of the diverse nature of not just India but this sub-Asian continent that we are in, because most of the situations, political, social and economic situations are similar. So there can be a term which can easily identify which people can identify with easily. And my conclusion would be to that how can we credit and generalize the role of folk in the folklore studies. So here I would like to reflect that how when we go for folklore studies, so we usually study the folk, but I have noticed that mostly the folk itself doesn't know the importance of those studies, or what we are actually trying to gain from them. So just to introduce with this topic, with this discipline, folklore studies as such, we also need to introduce them with this discipline, so that they also know that what we actually are looking for from them. So we need to generalize their role as well, and then that can only be done with how we can create more folklore curriculum which are strong and which can fulfill the need from the school level to the graduation level and to a certificate course level, because I think we lack it a lot. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Himanshi. Professor Chalaperumal, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please take over.
Yeah. I'm really happy to be here with you. And all of us are really privileged to have Professor Vekrai with us, such a senior professor, and our senior guru is here, though we missed him on the first day of the workshop. And we are fortunate to have him here. We are more or less concluding the workshop today or tomorrow. Sir, you would have heard about by the participants' responses how serious the workshop and it nearly about 2 weeks of period, every day 2-3 hours sitting in the evening. Almost all were so sincerely, patiently hearing Professor Painart's views. Though it was looking like a monologue of Painart, it was not just, it is his voice. He was only explaining us the voices of the folklore, the scholarship voices, how it was started, how it has grown, how it has come to the present condition. Now folkloristics is at a crossroads. Not only folkloristics at a crossroads, almost all the disciplines are in crossroads now because of the changing situation, changing circumstances and all. Very elaborate scholarship, scope of folklore was explained so patiently, step by step, almost all you as if in a nutshell form, the folklore course was given to the participants. In this workshop, not only the senior or already established scholars, already established researchers and faculty, many of the new entrants also joined. So it is all kinds of people joined here. And in fact, I really admire Professor Paynar Sar's very serious, sincere effort. He used all the modern teaching technologies, PowerPoint, and all these things. Definitely, until day before yesterday's, his presentation was from all perspective, folklore from all perspective, history of folklore scholarship, is the theories of folklore, the kinds of folklore, the methodologies of folklore. But only problem in yesterday, he has ended with the suggestion of suggesting a new term or an alternative term for the folklore or folkloristics. See what happens, not all the disciplines would be suiting to the needs of all the circumstances for all times. According to the changing times, the scope of each and every discipline gets widened or modified or added, all these things, that is there. No discipline would go to the extent of changing the name or changing the terminology of the very discipline. Okay, see, and again, as I was pointing out yesterday, see, folklore scholarship has come a long way. It has grown big, and then see, though folkloristics by its nature, it is an interdisciplinary nature by itself because of the double subject matter and all. But even then, it is having its own methodologies. Nobody can deny that it doesn't have its own methods, it doesn't have its own theories, it doesn't have its own definitions and concepts. Definitely, it is able to contribute to the other disciplines, not only to anthropology, to the other social sciences, literature, all the disciplines. Okay, and see, it is unfortunate always the folkloristics or the stalwarts of the folklore studies were attempting to define folklore. Nothing wrong in that, and but the discipline doesn't end in the debate on the definition, in the debate on the definition of the discipline. So at some point of time, we should have some working definition, or you can't expect any term to give the full meaning or what all you expect. If you want to know the literal meaning of any discipline, it won't give you the full meaning of any discipline. See, literal meaning of the discipline is different, but the meaning it is loaded with is definitely different. More, you can't what to say, these shorten or minimize the discipline by its literal meaning of the term of the discipline. This is very, very unfortunate with the folkloristics discipline. That is the reason why everywhere throughout the world, and the problem of name of the discipline continues. And another thing, in the interestingly, throughout the world, because we are aiming for the internationalization or universalization of a discipline, because though folklore is rooted at the ground level, but we are also taking or expecting the discipline to the level of international disciplinary level. At that time, there will be definitely, when you are taking a discipline which is rooted at the ground level, but at the same time you are also having comparative perspective, generalization, or when you are also making the discipline to the higher level or universal level or international level, there will be some kind of debate would be there, that we should understand. In almost all the countries, in almost all the languages, the name of the discipline is still having some debate. No consensus in any language, whether it is Tamil or Malayalam or Telugu, Hindi, or wherever it is, excepting that of some of the European languages like German, it is Volkskunde. There is not, without any much debate, it has been accepted. And English word folklore also accepted in the European and American thing. Where problem lies? Only where there is where the countries are having too much of tradition, variety of languages, you have different perspectives. And you, that thing, you should not simply, in the name of universalization, you should not simply avoid it. Because the situation of the viewing of the discipline folklore by a dominant language group would be definitely different from that of a it will be definitely different from that of a group which is being suppressed or dominated by the powerful forces. Okay, so in that way, the different terms used for folklore really denote different realities, different perspectives by the people, by the government, by the community, by the intelligentsia of these regions. Okay, in such a situation, artificially, after doing very good exercise for 2 weeks, at the end, suggesting a unwarranted, suggesting a very I would pardon me for if I use any strong word, using another term, adding confusion, and as if it is a foolproof term, all there is no problem. Yeah, what Professor Pynard said, intrology has got everything in it, as if all the other earlier terms were having so many weaknesses, and this term is free from weakness. And also the kind of artificial exercise at the end. This all every day he did a meaningful exercise, but at the end he made a very artificial exercise, imitating. He has taken a Latin word to coin a term. See, why the most of the disciplines originated in Europe were having Latin. Those days, more than the English, Latin was considered to be the what is the language of the high thinking, or say, for example, what in India still people think as if Sanskrit is the high order language, or other languages are lower order languages. So that kind of dichotomy or thing was there. So most of the disciplines got the root words from Latin, and it was a historical happening. What happened in 18th century, 19th century, you want to repeat that meaningless exercise in the 21st century, taking some root word from Latin and suggesting, really, is it a fun? It looks like a fun. Okay, another thing, already there are so many terms which by those terms, none of the languages are not able to come to any kind of compromise or working definition and terms. And instead of addressing that thing, or instead of resolving that thing, you are bringing in some new thing. It looks like as if, there is something, two people are fighting for something, and instead of resolving or instead of negotiating, you want to reject both the people and you are bringing somebody new. It would look odd. It would look odd. Okay, so it would look odd. That too, so if I tell one more point, you should not take it as if I'm making any personal attack or personal comment. See, interestingly, all the South Indian languages were very comfortable with some term or other, though consensus terms. Say, for example, in Tamil, 2 terms, and Kannada, some terms, Telugu, some terms. But what happened, Professor Payanad, who is a pioneer, who is the leading figure in Kerala folklore, what he did, instead of having any Malayalam term, unlike the other South Indian states, he was introducing, let us all have the English term itself, folklore. Instead of folklore, when they write in Malayalam, folklore. So under the folklore, he has even written a textbook. It was like a Bible for the Kerala students, Malayalam students. It was because he was with the impression that you can't any Malayalam term would not be in a position to give the full meaning of the term, the folklore within quote unquotes. So he was somehow compromised to have the term folklore. But the same person who introduced the term folklore in Kerala and Malayalam, now suddenly creating artificial bonsai-like tree. See, it is a banyan tree. For the banyan tree, banyan tree you should be, because banyan tree is huge, so many things. You have to study banyan tree because you are very uncomfortable with the hugeness, different roots, prop roots. You are scared. So you are, instead of studying the banyan, instead of understanding the banyan, you are creating a bonsai similar to that of, so that it is easy to handle. It is a fun, childish. Okay. So, but in all respects, I respect Professor Painar's presentation, each and everything, excepting that of the yesterday's last 15 or 20 minutes of things. Okay, that my job is here, according to Professor Sudhakar Reddy, to moderate the session. Unfortunately, it is taking more and more time from my mouth. So I control yourself. If there is anybody else wants to continue, let me invite them. So for some time I will be moderating. Soon Professor Sudhakar Reddy would join. He would moderate so nicely. He is a very experienced, nice person. I am a little rough man. I am a little rustic. He is gentle, diplomatic. I am not that much diplomatic and nuanced man, because I always deal with the people of all kinds of normal tribal people or rural people and all. So please pardon me if any of my words are a little harsh or strong. So who is the next person to come for making presentation? Do that.
Sir, if you permit, I would share some of my other views also, sir, regarding this. May I, sir?
Yes, please, Kanda Subramaniam.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, regarding this commodification, globalization, and consumerization, as we taken these terms in folklore as a new terms or in a new dimension, we have, I think we have two binary opposites we will find. One as a culture and other as a commodification and consumerization. In past, we concentrate on more on our culture and tradition. Like that way, we documented all the things, we archived all our laws and like that, sir. While we are moving into commodification or consumerization, it will more talk about the present and future. Because if it is become a commodity means, it won't look as past. Commodity means it has to be consumed. It should have a value for consume. So the folklore has to be, whether if we want to see folklore as a commodity or consumer thing means, whether we have to leave the past or whether we are linking any link between the past and present. Because this is a very big question, I think, and a very big challenge before us. And also, we are repeatedly and we are thinking that, and we are repeatedly we are discussing that the globalization made folklore as commodification and consumerization, and become made folklore as consumer thing and commodity. But what my view is, sir, it de-link with the globalization and modernization made folklore dealing with sorry, sir, if I'm just a thing, sir. The modernization and globalization made folk and lore separated. Because 2-3 days before also I talked regarding this. Many of the folk want to dealing with their lores for many reasons. Some of the lores, the folk felt that it is suppressed them by tradition, but because of the modernization and globalization, they came out from the lore, and now they are thinking that they are free from the lore and they are free from their suppression level. So while we are thinking that commodification and we are making that lore in archive means, what we are going to preserve, whether we are going to preserve their old culture against their thought, because many of the
hello, Subramaniam.
Yes.
Yeah, we will take up such issues in the debate. Okay. For the time being, this is having a different purpose right now, so I think Professor Challaperumalji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Because these are all the things the workshop made me to thought. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Because thank you very much. Voice is very low, sir. I hope.
Folklore, for some reason or other, we are not here to plead them, please continue with that and all. So the folklore is can't control the social dynamics, social change. See, for example, I tell you, the 19th century anthropologists, early 20th century anthropologists, they when they did ethnographic works on the Amerindian communities, they not only did ethnography, they also collected their so many artifacts and other objects which were used by those Amerindians, and they were kept displayed in the name of museum in Smithsonian Institution or other so many other museums in the country, that is US. What happened now? But now the Amerindians, these different kinds of Amerindians, there are people Navajos, there are so many different kinds of people, what they call Indians, but the tribal people. They have come up well in life, educationally, technologically, all these things. When the present day generation, when they went and saw their ancestors' objects kept displayed, not only they didn't feel happy about it, because certain objects were demeaning to them. So they said, no, please remove it. We don't want to you are not supposed to keep it for display, and if you keep it, it will demean them. Though that was true earlier, but now they feel it is not to be displayed. So it was respected by the museum, present museum people like that. I see folklore would be is commodified, folklore is commercialized. That will happen. So our duty is to study it, or if you really want to suggest something, I don't think there should be something to be suggested. It is people are the best judges, what they want to have, what they want to lose, how to proceed further. So so we are not here the change makers. We are only the academicians. You have to make a study, and you have to implicate. You have to study that and its implications. You have to say. You cannot control. That we should remember. So I would call other person, because those.
Sir, 1 minute. Before calling another person, we will call Professor B.A. Vivek Rai, sir. He will address for few minutes. Professor B.A. Vivek Rai, sir, is a well-known folklorist, not only India, even at the international level. He worked with Frank Coram, Finland.
Sorry, Hanko.
Yeah, because of my age, I am forgetting. So he worked with him. He was there in Germany for so many years. He visited Finland. He is one of the very, very serious and sincere folklorist of India right now. He is the chairman of the Institute for Indian Folklore, and he is the one of the founder members of Fossils. Since for the last 30 years, he is with the Fossils organization. He is such a senior personality. Now I request Professor B.A. Vivek Rai, sir, to address our participants, those who have attended this workshop. So thank you, sir. Please.
Good evening to everybody, all of my colleagues here. On the outset, I want to in a way express my apologies. Being a part of Fossils and a part of the Institute for Indian Folklore, I could not participate in the last 2 weeks, which was very vibrant, which I can hear from the views of the participant just now for the last 1 hour that I attended online. Because I was much indisposed, I expressed my inability with Professor Reddy and Professor Raghavan Payanad when they called me several times. Professor Raghavan Payanad was sending all his lectures in advance to me through my email. I could not see all that one, but I could see the first 2-3 lectures. They were so much illuminating for me. But today, when both of them called me, Professor Reddy and Professor Raghavan Payanad, I wanted not to speak, but to listen to that one. And I'm so much glad that the 4 pillars of our Fossils are here. Professor Baksa Reddy, Professor Raghavan Payanad, Professor Sudhakar Reddy, and Professor Chella Perumal. I think now they are the 4 pillars who will be taking the whole saga of folklore in South India and India also. The whole concept of this workshop is something very innovative, that is revisiting folklore and folkloristics. Of course, in the same title, there were lots of seminars, workshops, and also meetings. But this one is something different, which I could see from the agenda and also from the views which has been expressed by the participants. And at the end, so Chella Perumal was giving the, in a way, overall view and also his critical kind of views of the nomenclature changes also. Before that, I think Professor Sudhakar Reddy was, though he was a moderator, is always having his own kind of indigenous ideas and responses to the participant also. I could listen about 10 to 11 participants, starting from Ruchi Ravana, Imam Shu Negi, then Rajashekaran, Kandarangas Subramaniam, then I think Nadamani Reddy, Parvatulu, Dr. Brahmananda Reddy, Anil Kumar, Pujanegi, and Dr. Sujay Kumar Mandal. I think I could get much because he had all these presentations where he could kind of review and also give his comments on that one. And again, some of the participants, they, including Himamshi, they again expressed their own research field and also the comments on the workshop. It's a good, some of the Telugu speakers, which rightly Professor Sudhakar Reddy has briefed it, I could comprehend it. I think, first of all, I have to thank Professor Vaksha Reddy, because he is a person who will not lose his vigor and enthusiasm any time of last 40 years. I have seen him, more than 40 years. And as I have seen this Professor Raghavan Payanad, I think I know him since his department in Calicut University. I used to go there to give lectures there on folklore, and association with them not only in fossils, when I was in Hampi University, in Mangalore also. And I wonder the intellectual, in a way, ideas that Professor Payanad is having. I have seen some of the slides which he has sent to me in the first 3-4 days. And also now I can see the comments from the participants. So this is a kind of not just a revisiting. Many a times when we discuss about the whole definition of folklore or folkloristics, we are always having two views. One is either in a way accepting the Western ideas and theories. Another one is we want to have an Indian model. That is something we are listening last 30 years also. There are many ideas, of course. I'm not in a way criticizing it, but now it is not incremental repetition or incremental changes. It is completely the whole, I can say, not only structural change. And when I liked that idea of it's epistemological kind of discourse, when we are just in a way striking on the concept of knowledge, it's epistemological because it's not methodological one. You know that in all the research methodology, there is methodology and epistemology, and epistemology is not a static one. It's going on changing. People have talked about globalization, commoditization, and it is plus and minus points. How the lower community, Dalits, and in a way deprived class has come out because of globalization. So there are lots of discussions for and against that one. I'm not talking about that one. But the mainly thing is that unless we go into the deep structure and in a way harping on that, on striking on the basic, why we want to retain this kind of discipline for our future generation, especially in India, with the multiple kinds of identities, multiple kind of worldviews and values. I'm happy that the participants were drawn from all over the pan-Indian level. I can see from the West Bengal, Kalyani, and also from West Bengal and North India, of course, the South India, in all the states. So this is folklore cannot be a unitary one as people in a way advocate for India. India is always having a multiple identities, and we have to not only respecting, we have to give space for the multiple identities, not just it's a respecting or talking about will be a slogan, maybe in platforms. But I say, so in the concept of the revisiting means the dynamic changes that are taking place in Indian, all the minor and major communities and different regions, different languages, and how to combine and to give a new shape to folkloristics in India. So that is even which has been, I think it is one of the major, Professor Reddy, I congratulate to all of you. It's a major trend in our fossils. More than 25 years, we are always working for that one. So, and also the responses which now they express it. So they may be, sometimes we find it's critical. Of course, we have to always avoid the critical kind of comments also, because only by this kind of brainstorming kind of discourses only we will learn. We seniors also learn, and youngsters will also I think they will go to their revisiting their kind of worldviews also. So I'm so happy for this one. So I told Professor Reddy and Professor Payanad I will speak for 5 minutes, but because all of my elders, elders, my colleagues, they know that one. Folklore is a discipline which will make anybody will not make them too old. It will always make them young, because we always think it. You know that just what you have heard today and the last 2 weeks, you can't find many of the disciplines in India. Many of the social sciences, I'm not mentioning of any social science discipline. In many social science disciplines in universities, not happen this kind of brainstorming discourses. Either they will be having two kinds of poles. One is who are addict to their past, and the another group will be they want to change in a day or night all the to discard everything what has been in the past. It's always a kind of conflict, and it will not come to any conclusion at all. But here in folklore, with all kinds of diverse feelings, ideas, discussions. Also, we always know that folklore is not one. Folklore is many. So that is the one. I think the exercise which has been in a way very successfully has been envisioned and has been adopted here in this 2 weeks workshop. I'm so happy. So being as a president of chairman of the institute, I will say only thanks, but all the credit should go to all my colleagues here, senior colleagues, Professor Reddy, Professor Payanad, Professor Sudhakar Reddy, Professor Sayyid Pelmal, and all the office bearers of the fossils. And also I always have one thing before my conclusion I want to say to my younger colleagues. I always call younger because I think all the other people are by age are younger, but not by their knowledge. Thing is that always be open to the ideas. Open to the ideas. Because since you have done field work, since you have read many books, since you have exposed to many of the ideas, either from India, from outside. But whenever an idea, new idea comes, just open your mind and see, why can't we take this one also into our fold? And there will be a kind of amalgamation. Amalgamation need not be one bowl or a lump. Folklore cannot be a lump or a bolus. It cannot be a bolus, or it is not a, in Kannada they call it mudde. It is not a ball. It is always a diversified thing. So we always say India and folklore are always in a way are similar, and structurally they are similar. India and folklore discipline are structurally are similar. If you can just get this kind of vision in any of the workshops, then I think I hope that the discipline will march forward with your guidance. We will be there just to say that, to give you the ideas, but you have to take to your institutions, wherever you are working in the universities or colleges or your own organizations, just take and spread it. So the efforts made by the fossils and this institute should not just have its only its fulfillment, not just 25 or 30 people. It should go from one person to hundreds of people in your area, your students, your colleagues, and whoever comes in contact with you in your discipline and your allied disciplines also. again, I once again, in a way, thank the participant first for your keen interest during this COVID pandemic period also. And tomorrow I may not join with you, but I will be leisurely looking into the lectures of Raghavan Payanad and Sudhakar Reddy, Perumal and Bhaktosar Reddy, and also the discussions what you have did during the lesson, during your these sessions also, because now everything is available in YouTube also. I will collect them and leisurely, I will myself will be educated. You know that it's the only way of educating is that exposing to this kind of idea. And I thank you one and all and have a good luck for you. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I request Professor Chelluparpal to propose a vote of thanks for this as our respect, please. Yeah.
Privilege to hear Professor Vekarai after a long time. Such a wonderful, illuminating, insightful lecture he made. More or less, it is lecture, though it is short. It has all kinds of what to say, the guiding spirit in it because of his long contribution in the field of folklore, as Professor Bhaktosar Reddy himself pointed out. He is our Indian folklore stalwart, working with international stalwarts of folklore like Laurie Hanko and all. In fact, in this workshop, Professor Payanad was frequently mentioning about the UNESCO definition or UNESCO's involvement or intervention in the folklore. For that to arrive at that new kind of definition, that intangible heritage, all these things. Even Larry Hanka also was part of the international team. So which means our Professor Vekara is not only the president of fossils, he is a real leader for Indian folkloristics. We all have heard him. And he was guiding us as I still remember as a young teacher joined in the Department of Folklore. From that time onwards, I was hearing him, reading him, studying him, and he was also helping me in my career also. He was knowingly, unknowingly also. Many things he did. I don't know whether you would have forgotten, because not only all of us are personally owe many things to him. All these scholars assembled here, the Folklore Scholarship India, indebted for him so much. I personally was indebted many things. Just I want to remind him, he would have forgotten, during my mid-career time when I was applying for UGC Career Award. Incidentally, Professor Vekrai was in the selection committee of deciding to whom the career award should be given, because in those days it was really getting that UGC research awardship, like career award it was called. It was prestigious. So he has selected me. Only couple of people only selected for the field of folklore. He selected me purely because people later realized that it was selected by Professor Vakara. Means definitely it was a fair selection. So prior that also I know him, after that also I know him. So I always have a high regard for him. It has helped me in my career growth. That is different thing. That is, whenever there is a possibility, I should thank him. I should gratefully acknowledge him personally. And also for this workshop, also he has come and so very always he used to speak very sharp in a focused manner. Not only he has now guided us, commented us on the input he received now. he is also guiding us how to go about, how the field should lead, how the field should proceed further. For that also he has given some important keep in our mind. We are on behalf of Fossils, on behalf of my senior colleagues, Professor Bhaktichala Garu and Professor Payanad, and my dear friend Sudhakar Reddy, and all, on behalf of all the participants, on behalf of the Fossils and Indian Institute of Folklore, I express my thanks, gratitude to Professor Vivek. As he was telling, he will be reading the PowerPoints, he will be seeing our presentation and all. So naturally, he is also, as he himself pointed out, folklore is, all they are always continue to be folklorists. Once you are folklorist, you are continue to be folklorist. Because it is becoming part and parcel. It is not just a discipline, it is becoming a vocation, it is becoming a part of life. So this way he is guiding us, leading us in the organization, the professional organization, and also he is guiding us in the field of folklore, and we all should thank him, and I am thanking him. And he is rightly pointed out, none of the disciplines in this country, even some established disciplines, are not having this kind of discourses, continuous discourses, sincere discourses for longer duration, for namesake, for some certificate sake, for some increment sake, for promotion sake. So workshops, programs are being conducted, but this program not for any particular and relearning, and also to refresh your scholarship, all these things. For this, really Professor Painad and Professor Bhaktichala all have guided us, but today's presence made this workshop in a much more prestigious manner. His presence is I enjoyed it, is a pleasurable, happy, and also it enhances the quality of the workshop to the others. For that, once again, I thank on all behalf of you. Thank you very much, sir. Professor Vekarai, sir. We are all grateful to you, sir, once again.
Thank you, Professor Challaperumal, and for the so nice words. For all of them, I'm not so much interested in, but anyhow, it is always to see the faces of Professor Challaperumal, Professor Sudhakar Reddy, Professor Bhaktivinoda Reddy, Professor Raghavan Payanad, and my all younger colleagues. Thank you so much. Good night and all the best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, Challaperumal, sir, please continue.
All from other people who all left, start conveying your views, but be
no, yeah.
For 15 minutes more.
Shall I give my presentation, sir?
Yes.
I'll look at the PPT first, sir. Screen. Is my screen shared?
It is shared. See, you can go talk to the. There are some this thing not shown. Slideshow is there. You just click on slideshow. Slideshow, top. See file here. Slideshow.
See,
Is it visible now?
see, you make it full screen so that you have to go up on the slideshow. Just click it near to transition animation.
I'll start again. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah, go ahead. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. Again, I'll thank all whole organizing team for providing this platform. The content of the structure and the structure of the workshop was designed in such a way that I'm sure that no participant would go without learning anything about the folklore. So now regarding the presentation, though it's a very huge content, and by looking at the content of the workshop, it's difficult to cover every topic. I picked up the few points, and I try to under what I try to understood through my understanding so far. So I'm keeping here. So before this workshop, I had two major doubts in my mind. Since I'm doing the preliminary research on I'm quite young to the the field. First was lack of folk theorist, and second was folklore as a discipline. So regarding the folk theorist, so for my understanding from the lecture, what I understood that the dearth of the folklore folk theorist is not only in the India, but also to certain extent I found in the Western world, if I'm right. That's why we have to incorporate, or so much of borrowing, which I can say, of the other theorists from either from the structuralist, feminist, and others. And while looking at the two ways of establishing theory, the second point here I could regarding the solution, uh, for the lack of the folk theorist can be possible if a researcher can find his own theory based on his data, as proposed by the sir. Raghavan sir told that how the finding the technical terms related to the research, and how one researcher can explain, interprets a concept and theory accordingly. For instance, through the lectures I gave the Vladimir Prock's example. Now, folklore as a discipline. Folklore as a discipline, yeah, I found it's a very problematic space. Folklore as a discipline does not acquire a total, a kind of a full space, could not flourish independently since earlier time, popular antiquarian phase. Um, uh, that's why a lot of, moreover, we can see interdisciplinary nature of the folklore, that especially from the literature and the anthropology side. And here in this regard, I came to know that what comprises the discipline, that is data, methodology, object. However, or sadly, when we look at the folklore in context of the methodology and object, as far as discipline is concerned, we don't find. Now, talking about the current status of the folklore, uh, here the term keep on shifting from the popular antiquity to the cultural heritage to intangible culture heritage due to the international interferences on folklore, or the effect of globalization and liberalization. Reason for this new term, as I understood through the lecture, is through because of the economic factor or the power politics. And as a result of it, we find the various agencies like UNESCO, World Trade Power, and WIPO. The various meetings has been held regarding the focus on the right over the folklore, and especially the Paris conference led by the UNESCO, which I found is a kind of a bliss, because this Paris conference led in the UNESCO helped to recognize the significance of the folklore and its sustenance by helping the folk people to sustain their culture worldwide. After that, we can see various recommendation has been passed regarding the safeguarding of the folklore. Various departments has been established in this context. But unfortunately or sadly, due to the ideological, economic consumption and political factors, which somehow shifted the folklore to the intangible culture. When talk about the features of the folklore, I found through the lecture that though the nostalgia, particularly in the popular antiquarian time, nostalgia was a significant reason. But apart from this, the significance of the folklore is we can see that the features of folklore through the through the culture evolution theory, transformation ability, and the text formation as well. Apart from this, folklore, I would say, rather started as a artistic survival product, but now the stage has now here it has come to the stage where it has become a commodity. So however, I would say, the ray of hope can be in context of the future of the folklore through as Raghavan sir proposed the aerial space of the folklore, which I agree to a certain extent. Apart from that, the objective of folklorist is to find out the principle of diversity instead of universal principles, to retain its significance and the functionality. And moreover, I've also found the significance of diversity through different manifestation in this universe. And the last part of this slide, it's based on my personal opinion, which I felt that I should share along all of you. Why I found that why another reason of the lack of the seriousness or serious attitude towards the folklore study is due to the lack of the trained Indian folklorists and folk theorists at both national and international level. And solution, I could say that it's a dissemination of knowledge through the large networking awareness and YouTube channel. I'm here putting it because if we look at now, YouTube channel has a space where where a preliminary research can be done by the young scholars who are thinking to come into this field. So I found it there's no as such, nothing is available or apart from the reading materials which we can collect from the library, especially for the people who are coming from the other discipline. Apart from this, the online workshop, conferences, seminars, and joint collaboration would probably help and bring all the young scholars to do research in this particular field. So with this point, I conclude my presentation, and I hope I have not misinterpret any point or thank you.
Okay, good presentation by Pujanagi. Who is the next one ready? Because we have only less time, so I want quick presentations by those people who are not yet done.
Sir, may I? Rajesh Shekaran.
Yes, please be.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we had about some theories from the introduction of folklore and folkloristics. Also from Raghavan Painad sir, that session. Also, we get some information from your session regarding that background of anthropology. Also, Sudhakar Reddy sir discussed about the evaluation and co-evaluation in through multidisciplinary. I kind request to hear Indian Institute of Folklore and Fossils. Already in, I think, in 90s, in the theoretical perspective, folklore studies workshop done by the fossils, I think so. At the same time, at present scenario, of fossils and Indian Institute of Folklore, it may be take another initiation. It helps to us as literary review and something, sir. It is most helpful to us. Even some missing what it is, structuralism, functionalism, psychoanalytical theory, we are missing. In the second phase, if it is possible, if you conduct, it is helps to us the young folklorists. Then this is my kind request to you too, sir. Thank you.
Sir, Chellaperumal, sir. Hello. Hello, Chellaperumal.
Hello. Yeah, Rajshekharan's presentation was very good, very nice and short, sharp. So like that, I want others. Almost all should out. Who is the next one? Because we don't know who are all learned, or what is that you want to convey is enough. Like in folklore, proverb, like a proverb, a single proverb you can interpret for hours together. Like that also you can make a sharp views by short sentences also.
Is there any other person? Still 10 minutes more.
Ononna Gain.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Sir, actually, I wanted to prepare a PPT, but I couldn't do so. So I will convey my opinion or what I observed or what I learned vocally today. For today, maybe tomorrow I'll be presenting through PPT. And at the beginning, I am begging your pardon if what I say will take a little more time than I actually intend to. And about the this workshop, this 2 weeks workshop, which I learned about from my guide, Professor Dr. Sujay Kumar Mondol. And when I get to know about the title of the workshop, that is Revisiting Folklore and Folkloristics, I thought that it will be a very normal and I mean, what I have seen in other workshops or seminars, like it is, they are particularly focusing on any particular tradition, any particular tribe, or something like that. But here I am totally overwhelmed by the, kind of knowledge that is shared and disseminated here.
Yes.
Hello. May I continue, sir?
No, hello, M.L. Venkatesh. Please mute your audio, please.
Continue again. Ananya, continue.
Okay, sir. So at the very beginning, if I'm really very fortunate to be part of this, because all the lectures, whether it is of Raghavan Painad sir, whether it is of Chella Perumal sir, or Sudhakar Reddy sir, I'm really grateful that I am part of this workshop, because I learned a lot of things. It is only learning, not unlearning or relearning. It is only learning for me. As I am from a different background, I'm from literature. I didn't know much, or maybe I was at a very rudimentary or very elementary level when I entered this workshop. So there were lots of doubts, lots of ideological confusions into my head. I didn't understand what actually folklore is, what actually folklorism is, what folklorization is, what folkloristics is. So here I came to know that folklore, the study of folklore, can be divided into so many knowledge, branches of knowledge. It is at the same time the data itself, the folklore itself. It is from humanities, it can belong to humanities. When we speak about folkloristics, then it comes to the social science, and how science, social science, they work together, vice versa. Someone makes a new knowledge, the other disseminates. Someone claims and demands for a new knowledge, the other prepares it. So it is always in a circulation in that model, in that way. I also came to know about the holistic knowledge, the superdisciplinary approach, the supradisciplinary approach. From the academic part, I came to know about evolution, co-evolution. I have also came to know about research methodology and the ways of knowledge production for folklore, because the subject of the discipline folklore, it includes objectivity, it also includes subjectivity, and these kind of points are really very interesting for me. So I came to know a lot of things. And if I come to the crux or the bottom of this workshop is I think a little earlier, that at the juncture where we are right now, it is all about that it is what is the stand, or what is the status of folklore at this crossroad, because we have already moved from the barbaric stage to the civilized age. From modernity, now we have moved towards post-modernity. From colonialism, we have moved towards post-colonialism. From anthropology, we have moved towards Anthropocene, means anthropology itself, which was revolving and centering around human. It is now also thinking that humanity is not something which around which anthropology must revolve. So like that, in folklore, it is I could also understand the socio-political approach or their attitude towards folklore through this. Actually, I got very much concerned about the future of folklore. Initially, I thought whether this discipline will survive or not, whether it will be finished or what. But definitely, it is something so intrinsic part, so inclusive part of human culture, that it is never going to be dead. So new texts will always come. So when we are speaking about archiving, and when we are trying to get the raw material for the research methodology, I think that we should not get confused which is the original one, because all are the original one, a little bit modified, a little bit new way of representation, maybe that may be called. But what I thought was the most crucial part of this entire workshop was that not a new nomenclature that just our Painad sir has introduced in this workshop, but another thing, the responsibilities of a folklorist, the responsibilities of an academician. I think Painad sir is not just an academician, but he is an activist and social activist. He could understand the nuances, how the politics works, how the economic works in society. So when we think of preservation, conservation, as he has already said, that those things were being discussed in different conferences worldwide. People were discussing these things. People are saying of safeguarding folklorism, but they were arranging, they were giving recommendations. They were not fulfilling their own recommendations. And very slyly, very cunningly, very cleverly, they have proposed a new nomenclature. And what is the reason behind proposing a new nomenclature? Definitely, they totally disconnected from the folk part. Whose lore is it? They are not giving proper recognition to the folk part. They are giving, making it a intangible cultural heritage. So we are not giving recognition to the people. So from a Marxian approach, these people who are the oppressed people, who doesn't have the voice, So we need to be the voice of the voiceless, the academicians, the folklorists. They need to be. There is the time. I think the time has come. They need to be the voice of the voiceless. So if UNESCO is giving us a model that they want to preserve the right of the folklore, they want to preserve the folklores through different ages, what is their way of preserving? Whether they are giving the proper credit to the particular folk people, whether they are giving credit to them in the IPR, in intellectual property right, or some the concepts like that. Are they giving them proper right, authority? If they are not giving them the authority, then the task or the responsibility of the folklorist and academician is that we should find out where they are lacking, why these people are not getting the proper credit. And from the viewpoint of globalization or commodification, definitely everything is now commodified. Whether it is in feminism, we also see that female bodies are commodified. Everywhere we can see that commodification due to the capitalism. So this is a very classic problem, but the approach is very innovative. I think classic problem, the class struggle. The class struggle is always there. So who is in power, who is not in power? That is the primordial thing that we must be concerned. So I think it is a classic problem, but our ways of solution, he has brought forward a way of solution through an approach. So I think that as a new nomenclature or as a substitute, it does not include the effect or the vastness that folklore, the term folklore, it has. But as a new approach, it can be I mean, we can intake that, because any new concept like structuralism, when our eminent professors were delivering lectures, all of them were taking names of Saussure, of Gramsci, of Freud. All of them came into the picture. So why can't we try to define folklore or the characteristics of folklore from a new point of view, from a new approach, from a new angle, from a new perspective? So if we try to define this term, this nomenclature, intralogy, I think intralogy has the capability to be incorporated by various disciplines, and it will be a way, a pathway through which these deprived people can get some of the recognition. Intralogy, definitely it will be a reminder, a constant reminder, so that the people who are having the control, who are having the power, they will also be conscious that if we want to legally or economically exploit this as a commodity, just as a commodity, I will have to give them a little bit of authority or credit. Before any kind of exploitation, they will also rethink. And about this word intra, this is not from India, this is from another country, Latin. I don't think it is that much important, because if we think of Freud and his terms that he used to use, like Oedipus complex, Electra complex, he is an Austrian person, psychologist, but still he has incorporated or kind of adapted those Oedipus complex, those themes according to his theory. So this can be new, very innovative, very powerful, and kind of approach or theory. If we disseminate the idea that we get through this theory to everyone, I think it will be able to do little bit justice to the people who actually deserve it. So with this, I will thank everyone, and I would like to finish here.
Really, Ananya again has really given a very good, I would say, critical review of all that happened these 2 weeks workshop. And at the end, she was highly supportive of the term used by Rahul Painad. And I'm happy about the presentation made by Ananya. But what I want to say, intralogy, though she was telling, and even Professor Painod was telling that as if it has the or only this term has the insider's perspective or something like that, it not like that. The very fact that folklore exists everywhere, it is varieties of perspectives, and also mostly it is the moment it is folk, it is the insider's view only. That makes, because you have the insiders agam, or what you mean to say, insiders view, all this thing, because of that perspective only, very word folk originates, very feeling of folk emerges and all. So it is already there. There is nothing that which was not in the folk substituting with this new adage or new term. That is my view. Okay, next person. I don't want to take much time. Who is the other person? You can continue now. It is already 9 o'clock. It is you all started around 6:30. Just go. So not to have more thing. It is to be very sharp. If anybody wants to present now. Otherwise, we'll postpone to tomorrow, because we are tomorrow also having more time. What I feel, personally, not to have more, because people will get exhausted, or all of you may be having other works. 6:30 to 9, it is more than enough. Any people remain, it is, but it is up to Bhaktavacharya sir whether to have some more people to present or to end here.
Sir, only I think 9 people, they have submitted their reports. So still 19 people are there, or 17. By tomorrow, 9 o'clock, you have to complete all the presentations. And 9 to 9:15 at the most. That 15 minutes is a kind of a valedictory, and Professor Raghavan will say something on that. We will conclude that one. So, but tomorrow by 6:30 to 9, 2.5 hours, you need to complete. It is for you. It's a request to both Professor Chellaperimal and Professor Sudhakar Reddy. I think now it is the time we will conclude here, because resource persons and organizers will have a meeting, another 5 to 10 minutes maximum. We will complete it immediately. So I request, we will conclude here. So I request all the participants to close your video program. Or I request Shivakumar ji.
Sir, one question, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Do we have to send our evaluation for today's session as well?
What is that? Hello?
No need, ma. No evaluation for today.
Yes.
Yeah. No need of the evaluation.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
So shall I conclude?
Yes, Shivakumar ji, just close all other people except the resource persons and organizers. Venkatesh, Syamala, please continue. Rajeshkar, then please close our thing. Hello, video also. Rajeshkar. Hello, Shivakumar ji. Shivakumar. So please conclude the session.